Hello everyone, this is In-Game Arts with another boxing, another offline product game review. This is Live Alive for the Nintendo Switch. To jump right into it, my physical copy here is just a base vanilla version of the game, so the on-cartridge version is 1.00, but sadly there was an update available. Now, like always, I did play my physical copy here completely offline with an unregistered account, and I didn't experience any game-breaking bugs or issues completely offline. I did experience some minor frame rate stuttering and slowdown, but nothing that completely left the game like a slideshow or a choppy mess. So overall, it felt like a pretty good complete package for the base vanilla version of the game. Now, Live Alive is a remake of the original Live Alive, which released on Super Nintendo. Now, the Live Alive version of the Super Nintendo version never got released outside of Japan, so this is the first time worldwide, from my understanding, that the game was ever released with full English and so on from Square Enix, and it's done with a 2D HD formula, which I think this is probably the best looking 2D HD formula I've seen from Square Enix recently. Now, I recently did play Triangle Strategy, and though I did think the game did look pretty, they kind of had this weird blur effect going on in Triangle Strategy, which actually irritated my eyes after a lengthy playtime. I did slowly get used to it, but it felt just like they added some filter on it just to blur everything. While Live Alive, you can see that filter is not there. It definitely shows the more of the pixelization of the game, which I felt make the game look way better than the blur effect from Triangle Strategy. And this is the first time from the 2D HD game that I was pleasantly surprised with how fun I had with the game. While Triangle Strategy was my first experience with the 2D HD, I haven't played Octopath Traveler. I was a little disappointed with Triangle Strategy. But with Live Alive, this was a enjoyable experience for all the game modes. Basically, what I'm saying is that each character in the game, you can choose from 7 characters. Each one has a different universe and environmental and storytelling within it. Now, some would say they're different games, but not really. They all fundamentally work the same way mechanically, from like turn-based strategy, kind of like move around a grid and a slow attack. They all work that way. The only one that's a little bit different is the Distant Future one, which is more as a story narrative with very little mechanical of gameplay. And then you have the present day one, which is more of a fighting game. And some of the character stories can vary in length. Some of them can be done in less than an hour, and some of them may take a few hours. But overall, each one I'd say was about 2 hours or 3 hours to complete. And then you unlock another story, the medieval period, which is another story, and then you go even further into the game, which you do use all the characters together. So you can get maybe about 30 hours altogether, maybe 30, 25 hours, depending on your experience in JRPG formula. But the voice acting, the graphic style, the music, the gameplay, all very well done. The only downside I can ultimately felt with Live Alive was that since they're all bite-sized pieces stories, it's very difficult to get yourself immersed into the universe of each character. And since some of them do get over with pretty quickly, and none of them have really in-depth characters, so it's hard to really get invested in particular people. And then when you finally get to the end, it doesn't really feel like you finally beat the main boss, because there's no real main boss. It just pops up. I mean, there's no really getting immersed in it. But I do think for a Super Nintendo, it was definitely impressive what they were trying to do, and this remake really does it really well in showing the graphic fidelity and how much it could be improved on, how true the formula they tried to be. I will only really be showing you gameplay of the Japan era one, Edo Japan, well, because that one has a good variable in gameplay, as well as the graphically fidelity shows you a lot of the game. Now, if I had to pick and choose which ones were my favorite, I had to say the Edo period, where you play the Japanese or shinobi. My most favorite one is the Great Distant Future one, where you play as Cube, which is a little robot. I love that one because that one has a very horror aspect to it. As well as that, I really enjoyed the prehistory one, where you play as a caveman. I really like that one because it's very potty humor, crude humor, sexual humor. I just really enjoyed that kind of humor, and I really like how they didn't censor or change any of it. That was very good. I'm glad they kept that the same. But overall, some of them just felt like they dragged on, and I wasn't really interested in it, like the future one, not the distant future one, but I think it's like close future or whatever. That one has mechs and stuff like that, and the whole classic Japanese style, mech animes and stuff. I really didn't get into that one, but then like the fighter one, I didn't really, the present day. Some of them you may greatly enjoy, and you'll greatly want that one to continue in its story and characters, while other ones you're like, oh, I want this one to be over with so I can be done with this. So that's the hard part. They're little bite-sized pieces, so there's some bites you may not enjoy. But I think for a remake and what they were aiming for, I think they did an amazing job with this. And this is definitely a good future for these kind of genre of games, of maybe more remakes. Maybe we can get like Biomet Legion or Legend or something like that. And then you had like Gaia Legend, or man, there's so many Square Enix games that came out on Super Nintendo, or even maybe the NES if they really wanted to go that far too, that you can maybe do like a HD remaster or HD 2E remake like this. And I have to say that if they ever go ahead and try to remake Chrono Trigger, I think this would be the best engine and best way to represent it, with the graphical style and the 2D, 3D graphics, as well as add voice acting. I think that would be a knockout hit. Now, overall, I can't really say other than what I have already said. Once you're done with the game, you're done with the game. There's not a lot of replay value, but there is some value in some of the characters, like the Edo period with Japan one. You can go through the game with a don't kill any enemies, or go through the game and try to kill every single enemy in the game, which is kind of cool. And it just adds that little bit of extra to the game, but nothing that really like, oh, I got to replay the entire story again, because it's not really a story. Each bite-sized piece is its own story. But the worst part is that while it's hard to recommend, but it's easy to recommend. I know it's really weird, because some people would be like, man, it's not worth that price for really what you're getting. But if you're someone who's a fan of classic JRPGs, or a fan of Live Alive from the original SNES, I think it's well worth that area. And since it's a good game, good value, and so on, and it's a good product, I can highly recommend it for that field. And it's a little disappointing it's only available on the Switch, and I don't think it's on PC, I can't quite remember, but it's only available physically and so on from the Switch. And man, I wish these games could get a little bit more widely available. Not just because I'm upset it's only on the Switch, it's just that I want everyone to be able to have a chance to play it than being limited on one platform. But thank you all so much for watching. I try to leave links down in the description if you're interested to copy. I definitely say look into it, though it could be seen as a little too pricey for what you're really getting. I think it's like $50 they charged for a brand new copy, which 50 or 60, I can't quite remember, but there's a lot of other games that give you a lot more value for $50 than this game. But if you're a fan of this kind of style, JRPG, SNES kind of games, or you just simply want to support this developing team from Square Enix and hope they can continue maybe doing more of these 2D HDs, like maybe Final Fantasy Tactics, or like I said, Chrono Trigger, and then there's so many other, maybe the Legend of Mana series can get that same treatment in the future. I know they've already remade some of those games, but you never know. But thank you all so much for watching. Like always, like I said, I'll leave links in the description if you're interested to copy. And I'll see you guys in the next unboxing video. Bye-bye!